today Mike is going to give us an in-depth look at another one of their wonderful products, the dough enhancer. In fact, this has quite a history. Mike, will you tell us about this?
Yeah, I'm happy to. It does have quite a history. This product is actually the very first product that our company ever had. Don Smith, our founder, the founder of our company, over 30 years ago, was a food chemist. And part of Don's anxiety at home was that his wife's bread was kind of crumbly when she made it. She used to make a whole wheat loaf, a whole wheat bread loaf. And Don didn't like it that well because it was crumbly. And those of you who have made homemade wheat bread know how that can be a problem.
I've done it, and it's not easy.
Absolutely. And so Don set about the task of creating a product that would increase the stability and the strength and the look and the feel of his wife's homemade wheat bread.
And you know, that's what I was going to ask. Dough enhancer. What are we enhancing?
We're enhancing the dough and the structure of the dough itself, the structure of the gluten,
okay,
and the dough itself. So if you're familiar with homemade wheat bread, you know how the air holes and the structure of the bread itself, when you slice it, the air holes are so large and the texture is so coarse that oftentimes you have to slice a 6-inch wide piece of bread in order to get the slice to stay together. True. And Don's ultimate goal was to be able to make that texture smoother and finer so that we could slice a more traditional slice of bread and have it look and feel more like a slice of bread that you would get, say, in a grocery store where you can slice them nice and thin. So Don, being the food guru and food chemist that he was, went down to work in his basement, and he after some time came up with this natural dough enhancer. I should mention that a couple of very interesting things about this. Don actually created the very first dough enhancer, and
in the industry.
In the industry, and there are many of them out there right now.
Right.
But Don's was the first and the original, and still is by far the best dough enhancer on the market.
It's used everywhere.
It's used everywhere. We love it because of the wonderful texture that imparts whole wheat bread. The great part is we found out that it can do other things. It can enhance the quality and texture of literally every baked good. Really?
Like specify. What do you mean there?
Well, white bread is an example. White bread can be improved as well. Oh. The results are less dramatic because the white bread is milled finer already, and the dough is already a little bit finer. But when you add a little bit of our dough conditioner to white bread, it will also improve the texture of that even more. Okay. You can add it to cakes to improve the texture of a cake, to brownies, to cookies, to muffins, to cornbread, anything that you're making with a flour base, any baked ingredient, you can add our dough enhancer to, and it will condition the dough and help improve the strength and the texture of the dough.
Wow, I think this sounds like a staple in my pantry then.
It's kind of cool. I'm going to tell you two little stories that I think are kind of fun. Maybe it would be nice for everyone to know. When Don was making this product, again, he hadn't actually developed the Shirley J company. He was just developing a little product and for his own personal use. And in the beginning, his friends began to enjoy the product. He would share it with his friends. And the more the interest grew in the product, the more the demand became apparent that he was going to have to build some way to make the product on a larger scale. So the first little while in his basement, he would combine the ingredients into a big plastic drum, like a big garbage can, put a lid on it and roll it back and forth between he and his wife to mix the ingredients up.
Oh, fun.
Over the years, they've developed quite a loyal following, basically through word of mouth, and then ultimately through the incorporation and building of his company with his wife's namesake, Shirley J, as his wife's name as the company logo. So it's really a kind of a fun little story. Another little story that I want to share with you, and this one is more relevant to the product itself. Several years ago, many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, my wife found a great brownie recipe that she used from a friend of hers, and she got the recipe, and we began making those brownies at home all the time, and they were the best brownies in the world. I mean, they were really a terrific brownie. And it was only just a few years ago that I found out that she was putting Shirley J dough enhancer in that brownie recipe, and she had actually been using this product for some 20 years, and I didn't even know it.
No kidding.
And one of the main ingredients for the success of that brownie is the dough enhancer that Dawn developed those 35 years ago.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, it really is.
Piece of history. Now, I am assuming that true to all the Shirley J products, there's no MSG in this.
No MSG. No, it's an all-natural dough enhancer. So you can always be safe that ensure that our products will have no MSG and that they're always good for you.
Okay.
So shelf life.
Yes.
Shelf life is another issue that people talk about occasionally. We like to say that our products will last forever, but they don't need to, because you should be using them up. They're never around that long.
Yeah.
And as is true with all spice products, spice kinds of products, especially those in the clear containers like this one, you want to store them out of sunlight as much as possible, and especially after you open them. Sometimes a little flavor loss can be had if you store them in sunlight, and sometimes the spices themselves will change color or lighten a little bit. You shouldn't be worried, because they're going to be fine, but if you experience that, as normal if it's stored in sunlight. But try to keep it in the dark as much as you can.
It would still be able to do its job, though, which is to enhance the dough.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One thing that we need to be aware of, the amount of product that you use with white flour is quite a bit less than you would use in wheat flour.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so just make sure that you pay attention and experiment a little bit. The directions are on the side of the jar, and they give you a rough idea of how much to use. And you can experiment with a little bit or a little bit more, depending on the texture that you want and how you want to play with it in your food. But it's very forgiving and very easy to use.
Okay.
It's a great little product. One that very few people know about. Most commercial bakeries now use dough enhancers in their products, and a lot of food that we buy have dough enhancers already included in them. Some of the prepared foods and things like that we buy. So it's a very relevant product, and something that we all should be aware of. If we're doing anything from scratch, any homemade cooking, we should be aware of our great dough enhancer.
Good to know. And I know that Shirley J has worked hard to make the products affordable. As far as this product, would you say that's the case?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just pennies per serving, really, and for that little bit of expense added to your bread, you can slice your bread thinner and actually use more of it and enjoy it more. Not to mention all the crumbs that you get on the table.
Yeah, there you go. And you know, another thing I really like about your packaging, square stores so much nicer than round containers do.
It does. Very easy to hold, and just a nice little container, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it also has the little spoonable lid on the top as well as a shaker.
Yeah.
So you can use it either way.
Shirley J's thought of everything. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for sharing. And for more information and recipes that will incorporate the dough enhancer, please go to shirleyj.com. It's all there just waiting for you. This has been a lot of fun, and until next time, happy cooking.